All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas Podcast, where I'm still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee. We got a first-timer joining Mr. Evan Sowards of 49ers Hub and myself on tonight's edition of the program. We got Clayton Holloway of NFL.com, NFL media, does everything over there. He's hiding out in some sort of NFL lair.
This is
in LA.
one of our many conference rooms in the new NFL Network building right here next to beautiful SoFi, which I'm looking at right now.
There you go. Well, thank you for joining us, Clayton.
Yep.
How are things?
Things are good, man. I mean, they could have been better if San Francisco won Sunday, but things are really good.
Disagree. Went pretty well for Sunday. I'm happy with that result, but yeah.
Things are good, man. Busy day today. You know, you got the fall league meeting. Ursay had some strong comments about Dan Snyder. So busy day for us here in the building.
We'll see, man. Yeah, that's we'll see. We'll see how that one goes.
That's a whole thing.
That is a whole thing. I don't think it's getting resolved.
I have no interest in going down.
No, let them figure it all out. Also here, Mr. Evan Swartz, 49ers Hub. Evan, good evening, sir, in the Kyle Shanahan gear.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm not too bad. I feel pretty good. It's a Victory Tuesday. It's usually a Victory Monday. Many people are saying should be 5-1 Atlanta Falcons after this Sunday. So it's a good time. The Vols undefeated. The Falcons. Like, I tweeted about this. This is, I mean, look, it's always great to be a Tennessee Volunteer, but also the Braves won the title last year. You've got the Falcons now with Arthur Smith, we now know an elite play caller in this league, an elite offensive mind. Josh Heupel and Arthur Smith rounding out my weekends for the next couple of years is just, it's not fair. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, you've got your situation with Dan Lanning and Kenny Dillingham and whatever Kyle's doing with the receivers and the running backs in San Francisco. For myself, it's just jubilation every weekend, where I get my flannels out in the fall. I get my hot tea. I get my chamomile tea, and I just get a nice blanket, and then I watch greatness for 3.5 hours from both my teams. It's great.
I don't know how long it's been since you've had the Falcons and Tennessee win at the same time.
It's not very often.
It's very
Well, I tweeted something like that on Saturday. I was like, I'm a Niners fan, I'm a Warriors fan, and I'm a Vols fan. So I was like, what a great weekend. And I was like, 49ers, do not ruin this for me. And
they of course.
Well, I mean, look, it's not their fault. The Falcons rocked the GOAT uniforms on Sunday afternoon, which
beautiful uniforms. I will not lie.
I don't know why they don't just wear those full time. I don't understand why we can't just go back to those. Those are so good. They're so perfect.
The helmets are so perfect.
They're clean.
The logo, by the way, the logo's better.
I mean, I got the Keith Brookings signed version of that up there when the office gets remade, and I build it based on a video format of this podcast. I'll have it on the back. But yeah, no, it's legit. But you know, it was fun. It was a fun welcome win. I will say there is one caveat to this win for the Falcons, which is that the Niners missed everyone on defense on Sunday, so that may have played a role in Marcus Mariota lighting up the San Francisco defense. But also Kyle Pitts got in the end zone, so I don't care just how depleted the Niners were. Kyle Pitts got in the end zone, so I appreciate you guys helping in that regard, because I was losing it. So
I gotta say, so normally when we talk about the 49ers, right, like I go through my entire, this is what I saw, things like that. This is rare though, because your team played my team. So let's set the stage, right? The 49ers went in Sunday with being the most injured team in the NFL. And I think within the first 13 seconds, they already had 3 of their starters all on defense left the game. So setting the stage, what did you see watching the 49ers, which are my team, as not a fan, like watching that team play? What did you see? And then what was it that worked so well with Atlanta?
I mean, Darren Hall played out of his mind, so I think they might have a guy there. The secondary got banged up a little bit, but Darren Hall looks like he's going to be a player. Ebiketie was awesome on the edge, and he's looking like a really good player. So a lot of the young guys popped for the Falcons in this one. I thought that was really illustrative of where Falcons are going. I mean, the offensive line played really well going into this game.
To say. Your O-line looked really good. I don't know if that's a testament to your O-line or San Francisco not having anybody on the line. Because they could both any pressure on Mariota whatsoever.
And that's like the one area where it's like, you give Mariota time. He's gonna figure some, like Mariota, having watched him every week now, it's really weird. He has the dumb fumbles and he's still someone that we'll never feel confident with, but he takes charge. He takes chances that I didn't think he would take. And that's why I thought I'd be more frustrated with him to this point where I'm like, he's not going to do enough for Drake London. He's not going to do enough for Kyle Pitts. He's not going to do enough for player X. No, he takes shots. The offense is moving. The offense is humming. Like, it's really been, I mean, I would still at a certain point want to see what we have in Ritter sooner rather than later, so we don't go into the offseason just wondering what the quarterback situation looks like next year. But I don't know. I think the offensive line, has been the biggest surprise for the Falcons all season long. And like I said, I was joking about Arthur Smith, but like, there's something to what he is building here, because you came into the year. I mean, I know PFF had the Falcons at the number 32 offensive line coming into the 2022 season. And
32.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing above their heads. Jalen Mayfield not being in the lineup and not being a factor at left guard helps, but like, doesn't matter if it's Elijah Wilkinson. Drew Dahlman has been much better than Matt Hennessy at center. Lindstrom's been great. You have McGarry, who's been fine. Elijah Wilkinson at left guard spot's been good. But like, you look at Jake Matthews, just solid. Like, they're just solid everywhere. It's kind of like the Tennessee offensive line, where you don't look at a lot outside of Darnell Wright. I mean, not a lot of future NFL names. It's not like a couple of years ago where we had only 5 stars on the offensive line. I mean, Gerald Mincey and J.J. Crawford are out here starting at left tackle and being asked to keep Will Anderson from Nooker. And you're like, I don't really understand how this is working. I don't understand why he only got sacked once in the Alabama game, but I'll take it. That's the same. I mean, that's my takeaway. Did y'all have a different one?
I want first. I don't mean to cut you. How does Evan feel? Because I don't know how you feel. Even I root for Vols that go into the league if they're not on the Niners. Obviously, somebody like Juwan Jennings or Emmanuel Mosley. How is that for you, Evan, being an Oregon guy? Like, you want to see Mariota do well, but not at the 49ers expense, right?
So, I mean, Mariota's been in the NFL for so long at this point, and he's had like obviously a lot more downs than ups. And even to just be where he is now, like a lot of that Oregon nostalgia was gone, right? Oh. Because, you have to remember, my best friend since 4th grade was a Titans fan, right? So I remember following him and having that in Tennessee. Then he went to Oakland, which was really like a 2-year disappearing act. Like, it's like he was gone for 2 years, And so like by the time, when the game came around, like I didn't really have any of that. In fact, I think I might have been had things been more normal. But like, as a 49ers fan, you start the game and players immediately start getting injured. And it was like, I couldn't even like mentally appreciate, oh, this is Marcus playing. It just goes straight into, wait, who's out? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Right. Like, so it's just like, it was like jarring immediately.
Yeah.
And then derailed throughout the entire process.
It's an ugly one. But kudos to the Falcons, man. They did what they had to do.
I mean, shut out the Niners in the second half. Did you see anything the Falcons did specifically, Evan, in the second half that frustrated you and something that other teams can do?
Not at all. Because so here's the thing, and I think this is kind of the thing I'm excited to have Clay or another 49ers fan in general talk about. Kyle Shanahan, I don't know what the exact stat is. Clayton, you might remember, but Kyle Shanahan has like a 0-24 record going into the fourth quarter,
down by multiple scores, something like that.
Down by multiple scores. Like, yeah. Not only that, but he's scored like 6 points or something in the second half, or 9 points in the second half this year. Like, there's so much going on right now, and it's like you want to go kind of into panic mode, but you remember what happened last year, and the 49ers went like 3-5 and then ended up going to the NFC Championship. So it's hard to balance it. But what I will say is the overall theme that I saw watching the Falcons game was actually really positive. I have been beating the drum for George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk to get the ball more, for less, Deebo Samuel rushes and more Deebo Samuel touches, from a reception standpoint. And I got to see that. Yes. Sunday.
You got the Ayuk Samuel experience, 21 targets combined.
Yeah. Brandon Ayuk, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a pass that was called back for like, was it like holding or something like
It
that?
was not Brunskill, the other one, Jake Brendel.
Brendel, yeah.
He had such a bad game, and I'm like, costly penalties that were just complete drive killers.
Yeah.
Going back to that Ayuk pass you were referring to.
Yeah, and so it's like he would have been over 100 yards.
Yeah.
He had an incredible game. I would more so want to hear what Clayton has to say, but my overall feeling was, again, for another, like the third game in this year, the 49ers beat themselves. They did not, like, the Falcons didn't beat them, to me, right? Like, it's no knock on the Falcons because they played impressive football in certain aspects, but they had a drop by Charlie Warner, who's like the second or third string tight end, who they only literally brought in, and we, like, I don't want to dive further, but I was having this conversation today and we were talking about the Falcons, like, why is Kyle Shanahan throwing the ball to your third or fourth string receiver like Ray McLeod, who was the one that dropped the basically in the hands pass, or Charlie Warner, the backup tight end?
You and I have the same exact mindset. Like, those plays should be designed to – you brought in Danny Gray for that specific reason, to take defenses over the top. Like, if you're not going to use Danny Gray – I mean, it's nothing against Ray McLeod, but, like, why was that play – not drawn up for George Kittle, the drop Charlie Warner pass?
Right.
Like, that should have been drawn up for George Kittle. Why was the Ray McLeod not drawn up for Ayuk or maybe Jennings, who's not necessarily a speedster, but Danny Gray? Like, Danny Gray, amazing.
Hands. And like, that's my point. And if you look back to, like, everyone always, when they talk about Kyle Shanahan, want to talk about the 2016 Falcons. Oh my God. Look at God.
I don't want to talk about the 2016.
But you know what I mean? Like, they're like, look at God King Kyle Shanahan and what he was able to do with that offense. But if you look at that offense, who was your third string tight end? Was it Toy Lolo?
Oh yeah, Toyololo. Yeah, no, he is.
And then who was the other guy?
Many people are saying he could be the heir to Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah. No, people are saying. Hold on. But Jacob Tammy too, right?
Yes.
They averaged 1 to 1.8 targets a game that year, right? But yet some of the most pivotal plays against this Falcons team today, Sunday, and like, Ray McLeod is a fourth string running back, and he was quite literally only signed because we had such poor kickoff return and punt returns last year. He was signed to be a special teams player, but he's getting key plays and he drops the ball. You've got Brandon Ayuk, you've got Deebo Samuel, you've got George Kittle, and you're throwing it to Ray McLeod. There's a Charlie Warner over the middle pass. It's the one thing that you can guarantee George Kittle's good at, and he just, couldn't have been a better pass. And right, like, we've been begging Jimmy Garoppolo all year to be able to throw deep. And instead, we finally get these passes and he does a good job, and they're not catching it. And they're going to players that shouldn't be getting the ball. Like, am I missing something, Clayton? What were your thoughts?
Chase will probably agree with me. That outcome outside of San Francisco's injuries, I was still on cloud 9 from the night before with Tennessee. I'll tell you the one thing that I didn't envision. So at this point in the year, if San Francisco's first 6 games, I said at very worst, they should be 4-2. And their 2 losses that I thought going into the season weren't from anyone that they lost to, with the exception of the Broncos, who are just bad. Another game that they should have won. I'm not stressing out about this loss too much because, like you said, all the injuries are just bad. But I feel like my takeaway is, outside of going away from running the ball, costly holding penalties, drive-killing drops, I feel like Kyle Shanahan, for some reason, lacks creativity in the second half or late in third quarter, fourth quarter situations. The play calling almost gets predictable. I feel like he does too much. He doesn't keep it simple. I feel like he tries to outthink the other coach when you see that the throwing was working earlier in the game. Obviously, if Jeff Wilson doesn't fumble the ball and those receivers don't drop those passes and the holding doesn't called on that big completion Ayuk, the game's a little bit different. But to put up 0 points in the second half against the Atlanta Falcons, nothing against the Falcons, it's a little worrisome, but I'm not hitting the panic button.
Yeah.
Can you explain the running back stuff to me? Like, as someone who owns a fantasy 49ers in my bench, in my fantasy football lineup with my wife. Jeff Wilson, his snaps are going down each and every week. I don't know if that's partly because they were just down early against the Falcons, so he's not really a receiving threat. You have Tevin Coleman, who people are like, oh, and Evan, you were just talking about it last week, where you're like, oh God, Tevin Coleman's now just about to be the lead guy. And then you obviously have Tyrion Davis-Price, who's coming back, and then you're going to get Elijah Mitchell back at some point. Like, what's going on with the running back situation?
So the thing that is so frustrating to me is when Elijah Mitchell got hurt, especially when they signed Tevin Coleman, and in my head, the first thing I tweeted was like, I swear to God, if Tevin Coleman gets snaps over Jordan Mason, who is the undrafted free agent, that literally is the reason why Trey Sermon got cut, because he played so well in practice. He played so well in the offseason, training camp, all these things. Because of that, they felt comfortable getting rid of a player that they drafted last year with a premium pick. And here they are not playing him, right? He's had one carry in the last 3 games or something like that. You have Tevin Coleman, who arguably, once again, Tevin Coleman came in and he played very well and he looked good and he was really played a lot better than I thought. But like then he, came back down because he's no longer playing the Panthers, and he played exactly how I'd expect him to. He's at the end of his career. He's not effective. He can't he can't move the chains. And you have Tyrion Davis-Price, who was coming off an injury. I don't understand coaches in general, and Harbaugh did this before too, that have this like enamoration for the older, more mature vet players. Like every 49ers fan right now is like, well, Jordan Mason might not be able to block. It's like, what, do they not teach blocking in college? Like, is that like something that you like high school, college, you never learn? And then the NFL, like, well, it's time to learn how to block. Like, I don't understand how the idea of how Tevin Coleman coming off the street, not having played, not having had a training camp, was better suited to run the ball than Jordan Mason, who has quite literally been nothing but fantastic all throughout training camp and that. So other than that, though, Jeff Wilson and Tevin Coleman are Jags, just another guys. That's what they should be.
Yeah.
Well, going forward, it's gut check time for the Niners. They're not favored right now in their next 2 games. And you said last year, NFC title game at 3-5. They're staring right at that potentially, because the next 3 weeks are huge for the Niners. You get KC, not great. You don't want KC following what they just went through this past week. And then you have at Rams. We'll see what the Rams are looking like. We'll get to the Rams, because I just think are really bad. But also they're not favored there. And then you get the Chargers on primetime too. So I don't know.
Here's what I'm curious. By the way, in case anyone's unaware, Clayton is essentially, he's the senior assignment editor at the NFL Network, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I want to ask questions, but we have to be careful because Clayton is very specifically working with some very knowledgeable people.
Where are you going? We were just talking about the Niners primetime lineup. I'm curious.
I'm getting there.
Uh-huh.
My question is who do you think is coming back and will be healthy to play against the Chiefs? And who do you think won't?
Oh, are you asking me if I have inside info on
this? No, I'm actually saying the opposite. I'm like, I want your opinion. I don't want your, I don't want to dive into things that you're not supposed to say. I'm saying, who do you think?
I hope I don't sound like a homer here, but I feel like San Francisco can beat Kansas City if they get if they have Trent Williams, if they have Mooney Ward, who's groin injury, if Nick Bosa's back. I feel that way. Could I be completely delusional? Maybe, but the expectations around this team are super high. It looks like Trent Williams is going to play. We think Nick Bosa is going to play. We think I'm bummed about Hufanga.
Yeah.
I hope this isn't a bad concussion where it causes him to miss a game.
I feel like that I feel like that he passed the test the first 2 times.
They passed it. They put him back in the game. He played 49 snaps.
Right. And then I think he'll play. My big worry is Mooney Ward, but obviously it sounds like his groin injury was a little bit less severe.
Yeah.
Than say Bosa's. So are you expecting full on, the cavalry's back coming in?
I feel like the cavalry's back with the exception of Armstead and Kinlaw, and then obviously you don't have Jimmy Ward, but
right. Well, Jimmy Ward might come. He might play with the club, right?
Yeah, that's what they said. He might play with the club, but
49ers legends, Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis
there
are
a
very
more
well known
team that we've ever seen in the last 3 years of the NFL? Is
Yeah.
there? I mean, I'm sure you guys talk about this every week because, I'm first time around here. I know Evan does the show with you a lot, but it's like this team just has the worst luck with injuries. And then at the worst timing, like you said, Chase, the schedule coming up is so brutal. Brutal.
I mean, I can't stress this enough, and I want to say it one more time because I don't know if any fan quite understands this.
They don't.
Ranked dead last in the NFL with injuries. They have the most injured team in the entire NFL, and within the first 5 minutes of the first quarter, lost 3 starters.
They were down to a total of 3 or 4 starters on that defense for the rest of that game.
The only reason why that should ever happen is if there is someone in a dark room with a monkey paw wishing ill will on the 49ers. Like, that shouldn't be a headline ever. Like,
somebody
it's an
poking
absurd,
the little dog.
Right. Like, so yeah, I do hope that the cavalry is coming back, but having to go back against the Chiefs that's a tough game.
Fun game though. I'm glad it's happening.
It'll be a good one.
The Cardinals, Evan's favorite team to talk about on this very program. They traded for Robbie Anderson, who I don't understand how this worked because everything I read, we just don't know anything is what I always come back to is like, I'll listen to these other shows and I'm not going to cite them, but it's just like untradeable. Like, cause folks, if you did not already know, Robbie Anderson, was dismissed mid-game on Sunday afternoon. And it came out, I think ultimately he was mad he wasn't included on, was it a third down play or something?
Yeah. And
got really upset about it. And, he's also one of the 10 highest paid receivers in the league and also not great. But his days were numbered when Matt Rule was fired, like both Temple guys. That was the connection there. And now he's an Arizona Cardinal. And I don't understand how the Panthers are going to just make this work with the money. It's just rough. Like his cap hit just is so much dead money. I think it's like 20 million in dead money for the Panthers.
It's an absurd thing that
they're eating it. Like that's how bad it was. If they're eating the 20 million in dead money for Robbie Anderson getting moved on, that tells you how bad it was behind the scenes. I want to say, but like the Cardinals are just in desperation mode. And it's so weird because if Cliff Kingsbury did not get the extension that he just got, you're looking at it as like, oh, this is the last ride for this group. But you're like, no, probably not. They're just, this is probably going to keep going for a little bit longer. But the other dumb part of my brain, it's like Robbie Anderson, Hop, Hollywood Brown, all together. Can it work? I don't know. Clayton, are you out on the Robbie Anderson fixing anything in Arizona?
I'm completely out, but this goes all the way to the top. Look, like Evan brought up earlier, this is why I'm a big fan of Evan as far as Twitter goes, because he can tweet a lot of things that I'm feeling. I gotta keep it.
You live vicariously through Evan's tweets. Yeah.
Yes, because he says a lot of things that I technically can't
right.
say.
I am everyone's anger translator.
But we're all fans. Like I work with Andrew Siciliano, who's like the biggest Browns fan in the world. He makes it known that he's a Browns fan. He tweets about the Browns, but we keep it within reason. Mm-hmm. Going back to what I was about to say, though, the Cardinals' problems go all the way to the top. Mm-hmm. Starting with Bidwell, keeping Steve Keim around for as long as he has. And Kingsbury, the way they did Josh Rosen. I'm out on Robbie Anderson. I feel like it's a desperation move. I don't know what you're getting from that. I mean, you're getting D-Hop back this week. Mm-hmm. Your second leading receiver on the team, I think, prior to Hollywood going down was Ertz. They're running multiple tight end formations. And then I don't know who their other – I see that they needed a splash for a receiver, somebody to help out. But I don't know if Robbie Anderson's the right guy. The guy has 1,000-yard season in his career. He's a hothead. I mean, you're bringing baggage. You're bringing baggage more so than like, oh my God, this is going to help us out. I mean, why not be patient one more week with D-Hop? See what D-Hop does. See what that chemistry looks like.
The one thing I will say is this: I think Robbie Anderson in the right circumstances could be a good addition to an offense that needs
the right circumstances. But is Arizona the right circumstance? I mean,
but
Arizona is kind of not. I don't want to say dumpster fire yet. They're not a dumpster fire, but
well, are they not? They're 31st overall in team grade in PFF. They're 2-4 at this point. 32nd defense in football. The offense is gross.
That's what I don't know.
Well, and that was my point. And you said they're not a dumpster fire. Where I'm over here going, I really feel like them signing Robbie Anderson is like taking a water bottle at a dumpster fire and like trying to put it out. Like it's not. It's too late. And I am curious. You do give Cliff this extension. Kyler's gotten his money. They're tied for a long time here, but like. Is D-Hop really going to save the season? I don't think so.
Look, D-Hop to me is like, I feel like D-Hop's, when he's around healthy, D-Hop's top 3, top 5 receiver in the league. I mean, the guy's incredible. And you saw how well he looked with Kyler when he first got there. So can they turn things around? Yeah, but they have other problems at receiver other than receiver. I mean, Kingsbury's on record basically saying he's willing to take any advice if it comes down to him not calling plays anymore. Like, whatever it takes for us to win games. I mean, their defense isn't playing well. Like, this is like a big organizational problem. It's not just a head coach problem. It's not just a wide receiver problem. It's just bad.
And think about that. Cliff Kingsbury, he's right, did say that. He did say, I'm open to someone else calling plays.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan
Shanahan would never say that.
Kyle Shanahan would choke children out before he ever let somebody else call plays. There's no world in which Kyle Shanahan would ever let somebody else call plays on his team. And that's like, Cliff is like, I don't know, man. It's wild. And, I got to say, Chase, shout out to you. You're the one. You were like, hey, man, this Kyler stuff's weird. This team is weird. And like, you were right. They are, no offense, Clay, they're a dumpster fire.
Look, like I said, I got to keep it within reason. I'm not going to sit there and, say the worst things in the world about him.
Right.
But like when he showed up to, what game was that was it a week or two ago when he showed up in that green suit, Kyler? And I'm like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? He just went viral for his suit.
Yep.
It's there's so much wrong with that team.
And I think like a fun vibe. The vibe is bad.
It was a pantsuit, right?
The vibe is just bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It goes the aura around that team is just bad, and it goes all the way to the top.
Also, who's actually having fun outside of the Eagles? Like, you go through it, and Josh Allen. It's like Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts are the only two people having fun this year. Brady's losing his mind. Rodgers is losing his mind. So many quarterbacks. Russell Wilson. Like, you go up and down the list.
I've never seen this much parity 6 weeks in.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
Well, let's talk about that, because who's actually good, Clayton? Who are you certain is actually good right now?
Buffalo.
Okay.
I have like group chats with, friends. We always talk in sports and arguing sports and stuff. And I said, I'm not the type, I always give my preseason who I think will go in the Super Bowl prediction. We all do that in the newsroom here at work and stuff, and I do that amongst friends. I'll give my but it's like, I don't buy into like, oh my God, so-and-so hasn't lost yet. Oh my God, so-and-so is 3-3 yet. Like, the Super Bowl isn't won in week 6. But I did say whoever wins this Chiefs-Bills game is probably the real deal. And I have Buffalo representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. That was my pick. And Buffalo is real, man. They shouldn't have lost their game that they lost. Buffalo should be undefeated too. Buffalo is the real deal.
Buffalo is the real deal. They're running the football stuff. I would love to see them trade for Christian McCaffrey. Like, that final piece, just make the deal for Christian McCaffrey would be fun. Yeah. I want to see Chiefs Bills just continue to go at it. Like, it's just, that's always a lot of fun. But I think it's harder to figure out the NFC, because I think everyone in the end, like, I'm still not just sold on the Eagles. I think the Eagles are, I think they're fine. Like, they're good across the board, but like, I don't think they're great. I think you can beat them. The Eagles feel kind of like the Steelers to me when they started off 11-0, where I'm like, I'm just waiting for the playoffs, because I think if you get them with, Tampa in a wild card round or somebody like that, like even the Packers, based on what we've seen thus far, even the Niners, I don't know if I believe in them that much. I don't know if I believe in this group to make the run like that.
I agree with you. They're a good team. They have a really good defense. I totally, and they have the NFC East has the most favorable. Have you looked at the NFC East schedule?
Yes. That's why the Giants are over here just looking like a playoff team.
Schedule out of all the teams. And so it's like, they're going to make the playoffs. Like you said, but who do they run into in the playoffs that actually knocks them off? Whether it be a good, healthy San Francisco or
the San Francisco 49ers, baby.
Of course.
Yeah. That's the one thing I will say.
Are they the real deal? We don't know yet. I mean, they beat Dallas. Dallas is a good team. Dallas has a good defense, but do we really believe in Dallas's offense?
I mean, as Evan knows, like I'm a Dallas believer. Once Dak comes back, I think they're going to be dangerous. I'm a Dallas believer.
So I would say my overall would be Buffalo. NFC is so wide open. I would say San Francisco if they're healthy, because that defense is great when they're healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the NFC West, Cardinals and Rams are both a train wreck. The Seahawks are out here. Geno's having a renaissance. The Panthers are a train wreck. The Saints are a train wreck. The Bucs are, borderline train wreck. The Vikings are the ones that everyone's overlooking, where I'm like, the Vikings are going to be sitting here at like 13-4 going in like first round bye, and no one's going to be buying the Kirk Cousins Vikings at all. And it's kind of sad. Yeah,
I said it. I said they were going to beat the Packers for that division. But here, the only thing I don't want to get too far away from it. I say this as a guy that I hate Starbucks. I hate Microsoft. I hate Macklemore. I hate everything about Seattle. I hate the Seahawks. I got to give them credit. They're literally the most logical competition for winning the NFC West right now. There's no other team that I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the Rams. Like Clayton, you can open the window right now and yell out to the stadium. Let them know. I'm not worried about the Rams at all.
No, I'm not worried about the Rams. I'm not worried about the Cardinals. I'm not worried about the Seahawks. All I'm worried about is health. Otherwise, San Francisco, the panic button, they're 3-3. They're still first place in the NFC West.
Yes, I know. It's so stupid.
They're still first place in the NFC West.
And it helps because the division just really sucks. I mean, we talked about the Rams. Like, are they just bad? Like, Evan, are you there with the Rams? Are they bad? Like, are you ready to just say, because Matt Stafford, you look at the numbers, like, folks, I'm telling you, go through this. Like, everything across the board. They can't run the ball. Who knows what Cam Akers? Like, the Andrew Whitworth retirement was devastating to this group. No Odell obviously hurts, but, like, I look up and down this list. I don't think they figured this out. Like, I think the Rams are in real trouble. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think they're bad.
Yeah. I don't know that I will say. I don't think that they're like bad, but I will say they're screwed. And what I mean by that is they've hedged so many times with picks and signing stars and like all of these things. They've hedged their bets so many times, and they got their Super Bowl, right? Like they got a Super Bowl. There's half the teams in the NFL don't even have one. They have a Super Bowl, but now Andrew Whitworth is gone, and you can't go out and trade for a left tackle, right? Like that's not something like teams do. You're not going to trade for a left tackle. Yep. And you don't have one. So they already have also injuries now that are happening to the offensive line that they couldn't afford in the first place. But more than just that, you bring in Allen Robinson, and I mean that's just not.
He's been a non-factor.
They're barely targeting him. They're targeting. I don't even know his name because he's that like unknown. Who's the white guy that looks like
the
Cooper
white
Kupp?
kid? I know exactly who you're talking
about.
It's
like Kafka or something, like Cooper Kupp's older brother.
Yeah.
Swarchek? What is it?
Yeah, something like that. But they're targeting him more than they are Allen Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when you were already kind of on a thin margin for your success and you lose Whitworth, and then the person that you swap out for, Odell or maybe Robert Woods or whatever, like the people that you're bringing in aren't doing anything. So it's like their margin of error was already tiny, and they're losing. And I don't know what's going to happen long term.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Like you said, they went all in and they got their ring. So what now? The defense doesn't look good. The offensive line's depleted. Cam Akers is basically requesting a trade. OBJ, they should have signed OBJ. Like I get it, he went down in the Super Bowl, but like OBJ fits a McVay, Shanahan, McDaniel system much better than an Allen Robinson does. Like Matt Stafford is looking like Matt Stafford of old without Calvin Johnson. So they're so reliant on Cooper. They're so reliant on Cooper Kupp. Outside of that, there's nothing going on there. If you can't protect Stafford, you don't have a solid running game. Who are you? If your defense isn't playing the way Aaron Donald and Bobby Wagner and Jalen Ramsey, Leonard, those guys are supposed to play, who are the Rams? Like, who's worried about the Rams?
It's just one of those things too. It's like, it's gotta be frustrating if you're Les Snead. I mean, you got the ring, so like whatever happens, like you just whatever you mortgage.
You're playing on house money.
Yes, like who cares? But Aaron Donald still playing like an all-time great. Like if you're Aaron Donald, you're like, I came back. I could have just retired. Like I maybe I should have.
Well,
hold on, real quick on that. Who do you think should have retired more, Aaron Donald or Tom Brady?
I was about to say Matt Stafford.
That's not even a debate.
I think Matt Stafford's in that conversation.
No, I don't. No,
this guy right here.
I will say the stuff about Brady that people really need to relax with is the marriage stuff. Like, just relax. Like, I cannot stand the marriage stuff when they're talking about Tom and like the questions and everything else, and just pontificating whether or not this is doing that. It's like, dude.
Well, most people, respectable media is not like, bothering.
You don't have to include that in your analysis. Like,
you don't. But it's. Have you seen Tom Brady? Like, so
he's upset.
Being here 5 days a week, and then we cover every team presser and availability. You know, Tom Brady literally aged overnight. I'm not talking about just on the football field. Like, he looks like he is tired in his face. He looks different. He's
also tired. I think he's a little tired too because he. Go ahead.
Everybody was like, "Where did Tom go in the offseason?" He got more plastic surgery. Like, come on, let's all like just admit.
I'm not going to.
I know, but like, I mean, here. Let me preface this. I have no issue with Tom Brady getting plastic surgery. Like, I have no issue with anyone doing that. Do whatever you want with your body as long as you're not hurting anyone else and it makes you happy. That's fine. But like, it's so obvious to me that that's why he was gone. And he looks like. I mean, I think yes, maybe he's tired, whatever. But like, physically, his skinny face, like that's.
I don't think that's why he was really gone. I think, what was reported is the real reason. Basically, he promised his family a vacation prior to him returning from NFL. And so he took those 11, 12 days to whatever it was to take family vacation because he was probably working on everything that he has going on. And him coming out of retirement basically affected his personal life.
I will say this.
He wanted him retired, and here we are, and it's affecting the Bucs as a team. It's affecting. That's messed up situation.
This is like the thing that bothers me the most is like, I completely agree that personal life should like always be off limits as long as it has nothing to do with sport. But like in this context, like Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. He's one of the most important athletes in sport of any kind ever. He's one of the most polarizing figures of all time just because of what he's accomplished. So when he retires and then comes back, the reasons why he came back and what's happening to him, while it is unfortunate, like I don't want to be involved in his personal life or talk about his personal life, but it matters in the sake of sport and his team and how they're going to like play and how he's going to play and like what they're going to do. If they're going to make the playoffs. It actually matters because it clearly affects his life, and his life is now affecting the game. Like, you can't say that like people are like, oh, we got to stop talking about it. It's like, I don't want to, but like, it's important. It's relevant.
I just look at it more like the same thing with Stafford. I think Stafford's been worse. And I think there's more concern if you're a Rams fan about this year than the Bucs. I think the Bucs are still going to be fine. I'm not as concerned long term for the rest of the season with the Bucs. And I think part of it is just that like the Rams are so top heavy, where it's like Ramsey, Donald, Wagner, and Kupp are all playing at an all pro level still, and they still look terrible. Like, this is them clicking. All the main important ingredients are playing how they should, and they're still just, oof, this looks bad.
Yeah.
The Bucs are just like in every game. Like, they're kind of just, you're like, they have not kicked it into gear yet. Brady has still been good. Like, I think Mike Evans has been fine. Russell Gage has not figured it out. I think it looks more like Donovan Smith
running game
bad.
Is the issue. The running
game's the issue. Tristan Wirfs has been good. They don't get any pressure. Like, they have not been good there. Their secondary is still good. I like all across the board. I mean, we'll see what Logan Ryan like that does to them. But
Logan Ryan injury,
yeah, that hurts. I think a lot of it too is just Gronk. Like Gronk not being there. Cade Otton is not ready to be the Gronk replacement. So I think that is like one of the more under talked about parts of this is Gronk not doing this. And I think it would have made more sense for Brady. It's like, if you're going to make this big choice to come out of retirement, I'm surprised you weren't able to like lock in Gronk to be part of this. Like based on everything we know, it'd be like, hey man, if I'm going to take this big of a risk with how this might affect my home life, I need you to make sure that you're also coming with me to make me feel a little bit better about it. And Gronk, and maybe we see him at the end of the year. Maybe he's like, I'll be there, but you got to do the first half and the heavy lifting without me, and I'll come back. I don't know. I talked to Tyler Dunn of Go Long, who has a great new book that everyone should go check out, Blood and Guts, on tight ends. And he spent a lot of time with Gronk. And I don't know. I got the sense that it's not completely closed on Gronk returning this year.
So we talked about Matt Stafford a little bit, but first and foremost, 2-part question. Clayton, you can go first. Who retires first, Matt Stafford or Tom Brady? And also, if Tom Brady doesn't retire, does he end up playing for a certain football team next year?
Tom Brady's done after this year.
You think so for sure? You think
you see it in his body language. You see it in his face. I mean, whether you want to go down that route, you just see he's tired. He's had a long off season.
But what if he wins? Are you certain he wouldn't want to defend it if he won?
If he wins, he would. I don't think they're winning, but if he wins, if he does not go out on top,
he's not going to make that same mistake twice.
Like you go out on top. You should have went out when you won it your first year in Tampa. You're like.
But you know, people always say like when you should retire. I wouldn't want that in my life. Like anyone just being like, Chase, you just won Podcaster of the Year. You got to wrap this thing up. Like it's never get any better than this. I'm like, no,
but you 20 years in the league and
he's.
Look, I've always said it's fair to compare podcasters to Tom Brady, but I don't know. I get it. If I'm Brady, like I 100% understand where it's like I'm still one of the 5-10 best quarterbacks in the sport. Why do I want to walk away from this thing?
But is he though this year?
Yeah, I think he's still top 10. That offensive line sucks and they can't run the ball.
I know. I get it.
I don't know. I'm okay with Tom to this point.
Yeah.
I'm not selling the Tom stock. I've sold all the Matt Stafford stock.
The true GOAT is right behind you though. if he could stay healthy and had the.
Well, I mean, he stayed around. I mean, his body gave up. Like he won a Super Bowl, 9 TDs, 17 picks. Like, hey, that's what you got to do. DeSean Jackson, does he move the needle for the Ravens?
Absolutely not. Next question.
Is this a serious question? And listen, I worked with DeSean's brother. His brother Byron, great guy, his older brother. He's the one that does all the video for DeSean. If you ever followed him around, he's like 15, almost 20 years older than DeSean. He followed him around his entire career, documenting everything. Byron's an editor. I used to work with him over at Fox Sports. So I'm not going to sit there and say, but DeSean's 35 years old.
Yeah.
No.
He's 35. I mean, can he be – is there potential for him to have a play or two where he goes over the top? Sure. But it's like, what's he really going to do in Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I will say.
35.
Deshaun Watson will absolutely catch a 60-yard touchdown pass because
that's what I'm saying.
Deshaun Watson, and like for whatever reason, no matter where he goes, it happens.
He did it with the Rams last year.
Yeah. But I mean, that's him and Tom Brady both. Those are just two guys that just need to just go enjoy the house. It's not that bad. No, it doesn't. But also, like the Ravens don't need, like they're not like the Ravens are fine. They could throw to Mark Andrews for the rest of the season, just win and win.
They are. I didn't see them losing that game though to the Giants.
The second half stuff is popping up. Lamar in the fourth quarter is something that's not going away. And now it's like Greg Roman. It seems like Greg Roman is going to be the fall guy here before anything else happens. But
fall guy,
a lot of familiarity with Greg Roman.
Wait, yeah, fall guy. He's not a fall guy at all. It's just Greg Roman. Like we need Trent Baalke's daughter out here to really. No, that's a deep cut.
I have no idea what that reference was, but
when Greg Roman was the 49ers coach,
okay.
Trent Baalke's daughter went on Twitter and was like yelling at him or something.
Oh, okay.
But no, Greg Roman. It was funny. Someone today actually tweeted that like an older player, retired player was like, you know, is Greg Roman holding Lamar Jackson back? And I'm like, It literally already happened with Cap. He's doing it again. Like it's in literal unison. Like
the only difference is because I agree with that sentiment, but the only difference is Lamar is so much better and more athletic than Cap ever was.
Well,
Cap's
yeah,
bigger. That's what I'm saying. That's why you're getting more out of Lamar than you do with Cap. But once Harbaugh and Roman and Cap were figured out, I mean, they got exposed.
Right.
They got exposed. Unfortunately, Lamar is just an amazing athlete and he has that X factor where he can do so much more than anybody else can.
He has an entirely extra gear.
Yeah. So,
well, we'll see. The Ravens are one of the more difficult teams to peg right now across the NFL. We'll end on this. Evan, you know what it's time for. You know what it's time for. Our 2-minute takes, because it's the most boring part of any podcast, is when people do their picks. And this part is going to be fun because we have special guests, Clayton Holloway, here to do them with us. Are you ready to do our lightning rod picks?
Sure. I mean, I don't know what this is, but let's rock.
It's our weekly picks, man. We're going week 7.
Okay. Sure.
Going through the games. All right. So let's get it moving. Starting off with probably one of the worst games of the week. It's Thursday night, Saints and Cardinals.
I think this is actually gonna be good.
Of course you do. You are like that house cleaning lady. You love mess.
I also just love like Alvin Kamara when he plays. I mean, Clayton's also a Kamara guy. The Saints are a different team when Kamara plays. Maybe? Yeah. I don't know. I can't quit the Saints yet. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Does Robbie Anderson really make a difference?
I think D-Hop does.
Yeah. So you have the Cardinals or the Saints?
I'll take Cardinals just because primetime, they're at home. D-Hop's back. I feel like if they lose this one, there's gonna be a lot of talk Friday morning if they lose this one.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna take the Cardinals, but if they lose, turn off the lights. The season's over. It already is, but turn off the lights.
I'm gonna take the Saints. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then so Ravens and Browns.
The Ravens, I mean, the Browns are imploding. Like there's some subtle implosions where the Jacoby Brissett experience is not fun anymore. This is a nightmare situation for them. I think they're trending downward, and this is going to get worse before it gets better. I think the Ravens get back on track at home.
I say Ravens back on track. Miles injured his shoulder again. I think he's going to be fine. I think Nick Chubb will do Nick Chubb things. I think he'll have a bounce back game from this last week, but Ravens are back on track.
The Ravens are going to destroy the Browns, but that sexual predator is coming back soon. Buccaneers and Panthers. This is just, I mean, it's
Bucks.
A 10 a.m. game.
I'll get it out of the way, Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks.
I mean, if the Bucks lose this one, like the Panthers is now the stick where it's like if you blow this one, like this is like the Rams being in a game with the Panthers in the fourth quarter. You're like, oh, the Rams are bad. Like this is not where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally like the exact thing Tom Brady needs to like get things right, and he will.
Give me the Bucks. I think we're all going Bucks, right?
Cool. A little bit of a. This is gonna be a tough one for Chase. Does he pick his favorite Falcons or the Joe Burrow Express in the Bengals?
I'm gonna be on a Bengals radio show on Sunday morning. I got to get up and do this and talk Falcons Bengals, and I got to withhold my Joe Burrow. And also T Higgins, Oak Ridge, stand up. Met him last month. He was at the Oak Ridge game during the Bengals bye.
Okay.
T's a cool dude. This is tough. Like, how much do I believe? The Falcons are maybe the most difficult team to pick week to week because when all things go right, like I think they're going to be in every single game this year. Like that's what frustrates me about picking the Falcons is I think I can make the case that they can win every game on their schedule this year because that's the way they play. And when they run the football really well, it's just really hard to beat this team. And Arthur Smith being one of the best play callers, like they're just going to be in every game. I'm going to go Bengals, but I hate going Bengals here. I hate going against the Falcons here, but I think we're going to see a lot of back and forth with the Falcons. Get a nice win at home against the Niners, and they don't look as good the following week. So give me the Bengals at home.
I got the Bengals. They finally kind of get a little bit of steam going. They had a really good win this past Sunday. Exciting game. I feel like they get They get 2 in a row here. Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, right? The Falcons are a team that are doing a little bit better than expected, and the Bengals are significantly doing worse than expected. So I do.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I got the Bengals here. I do think they get a bounce back game.
It's nothing against the Falcons, like he said. They're doing better things, but at what point did the Bengals finally get the ball rolling?
So I wish the Cowboys didn't have this game because I hate the Cowboys, but they get the Lions at home, the 1-4 Lions. Who do you guys got?
I think the Cowboys bounce back. Cowboys are good. I'm not going away. Is Dak going to play this week, Clayton? Do we know?
It looks like he's going to play.
Yeah.
He says he's going to play. He's practicing tomorrow. McCarthy said he's going to practice tomorrow. He's going to play.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is on the record saying he's looking to have him back. Look, upsets happen every week. This past Sunday, there were just so many upsets. Like, could this be a game? Could this be a trap game for Dallas? I could see it happening, but
you got to be all in on the Josh Reynolds experience. I don't see it. I think the Lions, I don't see it. They're going to fight. It's going to probably be a low scoring game. I think that might surprise people, but I don't think the Cowboys drop this one at home.
Yeah.
The Dak return. And it's a reminder of like, oh, right, Cooper Rush was fine when we were able to just run the ball down people's throats and just play keep away. But it's more fun to have a Dak Prescott under center. And Zeke, we should also mention, been good. Zeke, a nice bounce back year for Ezekiel Elliott.
The Cowboys are the luckiest team in the NFL.
You hate the Cowboys.
No, not that. What I was going to say is they're the luckiest team in the NFL in that they lost their quarterback and they didn't, at the moment that it happened, have what we consider to be a strong backup. And they won 4 football games, and now Dak's back.
Compared to San Francisco, when Jimmy goes down, they always lose games with Mullins and CJ Beathard and everybody else.
Right. So of course, so I will say this: I don't feel too bad about the Cowboys having some good luck here because they'll still disappoint everyone when it matters. But they do win this week. This is a sneaky fun game, guys. The Giants and Jaguars.
Jaguars on a downward trend. I had them before the year. I was like, I had the Jaguars winning the AFC South, where I was like, all right, Trevor Lawrence, because I'm a big Trevor Lawrence guy too. And I think he's the heir to Peyton, like the Peyton heir. And it's been rough. Like the last couple of weeks have been weird. And they're in these games, but they're not closing. And I like their running back situation. I like what Christian Kirk has provided for them. Love the rookies on defense, like Trayvon Walker,
of course.
The linebacker from Devin Lloyd from Utah has been great for them as well. But they have, Foye, old Atlanta friend, has been great for them. It's really weird. The Jaguars are really hard to figure out because I'm like, they should be winning these games. I don't think they're going in the wrong direction. I don't think it's time to panic if you're Jacksonville. But this is the kind of game you want to win. And this might be more of a home game for the Giants with all the snowbirds down in Jacksonville. But I'm not a believer in the Giants and the 5-1 Giants. I think this is the kind of game where Daniel Jones has some bad turnovers, struggles, and the Jaguars get a much needed win at home and kind of let's pump the brakes on the Daniel Jones and Giants experience.
I agree with you a lot. I think Giants could easily, this is a game that they could easily lose. Jaguars aren't a bad team, but it's like, could you imagine who would have ever thought the 6-1 Giants? And they're in the NFC East. They have such an easy schedule coming up after they have the Jaguars, they have the Seahawks, they have the Lions and the Commanders twice.
They got it good. I will say this. Ever since the 2011 49ers season with Alex Smith and Jim Harbaugh's first year, I've always had a special place in my heart for really bad teams that have 1-year turnarounds. So like on one end, it's the Giants, but on the other, I kind of like that they have this. I like the head coach.
Brian Daboll's fun, man. He's a fun coach.
I love Saquon Barkley. I've always loved Saquon. The resurgence of Saquon makes me so happy, right? Kayvon Thibodeau.
Kayvon's playing great now that he's back on the field.
Oregon legend Kayvon Thibodeau looking great, crying after the game because they won his first game. So I've enjoyed that, but I think the Jaguars win here. I think Trevor Lawrence has himself a game.
We all say Jack. Let's hope we're right.
Yeah,
I
can see the Jags. Pump the brakes a little.
So okay, and another team that's going to get another quarterback that's going to get a much needed bounce back win here. The Packers are playing the Commanders.
Are we sure?
I mean,
at home
this
in
point, I don't know.
Washington, like no Carson Wentz this week, right?
I'm on the record last week saying the Jets were going to do it.
They're only 5.5 point favorites on the road in.
There's something about Green Bay right now, man. There's something in that water. I don't know if it's just injuries, losing Devontae Adams, what it is. I see them winning this game, but the Packers aren't scaring anybody.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Taylor Heinicke. This is like the ideal Taylor Heinicke win, right?
It is, right?
He just subs in, and then the do or die time against Aaron Rodgers at home. Like,
so you guys are going Commanders?
I think I'm going Commanders. There's something wrong in Green Bay.
I'm going to go Green Bay, but only because I think the Commanders are that bad. But I got to say, when you go out and get some hippie tattoos and you start doing ayahuasca and you start talking about all these things, you go on all these podcasts, you go on and do all these interviews, and you're like, you got the haircuts that you have. You can't do that and then not be Aaron Rodgers level good. And that he's done this entire world tour this year of all these weird things, and now he's they're not winning football games. They're not. It's like it doesn't work.
I don't know if it's necessarily Aaron Rodgers' fault. Like, where is Aaron Jones? Why are we not utilizing that running game?
Well, he's asking that question too.
What?
Well, I mean, not only that, but Aaron Jones, and then also they have one of the better second backup running backs.
Yeah.
Right. So like I think this is a good bounce back win for him.
I don't see. Yeah.
Cool. And then a game that really no one should care about, but the Colts and Titans are going to be playing.
It's important. This is a divisional game. Matt Ryan, I think, is number 2 in passing yards. Old friend Matt Ryan bouncing back a little bit. I'll be going hardcore.
Remember, where's this game? Is it in Tennessee?
It's in Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going Colts. The Titan stuff has to end. This is not a good football team. Like it has to end. I don't know what the Titans voodoo is over the AFC South, but it has to end at some point. And I don't know. I think this is where it ends.
We'll see we'll see who they get back, even though DeSean Jackson looked fantastic and he won Kyle Brandt's angry run scepter.
Titans only 2.5 point favorite, by the way.
Is Jonathan Taylor going to play?
I think so.
I was going to say, and Derrick Henry's going to play, and he's been really good for them. But
like, this one's more of a coin flip for me. I could see it going either way. I guess I'll lean Tennessee because of home field, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts come out and play well.
Yeah, to me, it depends on Matt Ryan. If we get good Matt Ryan, I think they can definitely win this game, especially.
Matt Ryan wants an offensive line that doesn't really suck. He just is like, 1 year, can I just have an offensive line in my life? Like, he leaves the Falcons and the offensive line's great. I don't know if it's something with Matt Ryan.
He went to Quentin Nelson, right? Like, you thought he was going to have something there, but no.
Their offensive line's terrible. They're a sneaky, terrible offensive line. Like, Nelson's the best one, probably. Right. I mean, you could make the case it's Braden Smith, but the left tackle spot's a disaster. And
so I know we got the Warriors game is already on, so I want to get Clayton out of here. Go ahead. Let's lightning around this because speaking of
what is this called again? Evans 2 minutes.
We say 2 minutes and then it just we try.
The only thing longer than this 2 minutes is doing planks. But yeah, the sneaky terrible game would be the Texans and Raiders. I don't even want to talk about this. But I will take the Raiders.
Raiders.
Well, Jack Easterby out the building, the first game without him, and was it Conley who's tweeting about it? Like all kinds of people. Like that is we'll see.
A bad hire in general. I remember when it happened here and we did the breaking news with it in Houston, and it's just not the greatest hire.
Well, we'll see what happens. Raiders should win this one, but another bad vibes team where I'm not certain. Like the Texans could.
So talented. Like there's so many teams players that are on record. This team is good. The talent is there. It's just not.
Max Crosby, my coworker, cannot do everything.
Arizona, there's talent, but they're not winning.
Yeah. Give me the Raiders.
All right, and then the Jets and the Broncos. I'm taking the Jets, baby. Jets, Jets.
They're fun. I like the Jets. I met Garrett Wilson and interviewed him and Sauce Gardner at the NFL draft in Vegas. All the events leading up to the draft, and I like those kids a lot, man. They're fun. I'm rooting for the Jets. So,
why did the Broncos keep getting favored? Like, what more do we have to see?
They have a great defense. They have a really good defense. I don't know what's
Russell Wilson's been bad. Like
Nathaniel
the receivers have been bad. The running game is
Nathaniel
bad.
Like Urban Meyer status without all the dumb stuff off the field.
Yes.
He might be like half of the season done.
The offense is terrible, and it's not getting fixed midseason. I just don't. I'm checked out. No, the Jets should win this football game.
Yeah.
5-2 Jets is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is a huge deal if they can pull that off. But no, yeah, give me the Jets. I think this is close, but man, 5-2 Jets. That's fun. Good for them.
Okay. All right, and then so 49ers and Chiefs. Clayton, you're going first, man.
I'll go first. I think I'm not afraid to go out on a limb and say it. If Trent Williams is back, if they have Bosa, if they don't lose Mooney Ward, like I wish we did this prediction like Friday,
24 hours when we do the injury report.
When the final injury report comes out, like it would be easier for me. But like San Francisco's good they haven't lost at home this year. They can beat Kansas City if they're healthy, if they can protect Jimmy, if Kyle can stick to a game plan, if the receivers can catch the ball, if they don't make costly penalties. I think they can. This is a game that they can win, and people are jumping back on the 49ers bandwagon and putting them in their top 5 power rankings again.
Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing. Here's what we're working against right now, right? Okay, Charvarius Ward, groin. We think he'll play. Mike McGlinchey had a calf issue. Possible that he'll be playing, but it's day-to-day. Talanoa Hufanga has to pass concussion protocol. He did not pass it yesterday. Charlie Warner has a shoulder AC sprain. He doesn't really matter. Samsung Ibukam does matter. He's basically the right-hand man next to Nick Bosa. Mm-hmm. He's got an Achilles issue. You don't want to mess with Achilles issues, so we might not see him. Mm-hmm. Drake Jackson, the rookie who has looked fantastic, who got a 3rd sack yesterday or Sunday, is day-to-day with a knee injury. So, and obviously Nick Bosa. If these guys come back, especially with how good Jimmy Garoppolo is playing right now, and I can't swear on this podcast, but he is playing good football. If they play good football, if he plays well and the defense is healthy, I think they can win. It's at home. And by the way, Jim Harbaugh will be in the building to celebrate the anniversary of the 2012 Super Bowl run. So if he says who's got it better than us, and the fans scream nobody, the Niners are going to win. What about you? What about you, Chase?
Chase is going Kansas City.
Okay. I'm going Kansas City. Yeah. Death, taxes, Andy Reid in the regular season. Like my thing for the last 5 years is I will always pick Andy Reid in a regular season game, no matter what. Like the dude has the best regular season record of any active coach. The dude just he gobbles up the regular season wins. I think he's not losing 2 straight. No, give me the Chiefs and a bounce back.
So Garoppolo loses 3 straight to the Chiefs. He goes down with the injury in 2018, then the Super Bowl, and now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's where I'm at. Can't do it. Sorry, guys.
Seahawks and Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers.
I like Geno, though. Those guys can put up points. I have Geno in fantasy. I would like to see a high-scoring game.
It's at LA.
Give me the Seahawks. No Hopkins. He gave it his all on Monday night in a win. This is another team has problems, injuries out the wazoo. I think I trust the Seahawks offense more at this point, and it's not like winning in the Los Angeles Chargers Stadium is a tough place to win. So no, give me the Seahawks to win here.
All right, Pittsburgh and Miami. I'm taking Miami.
This is tough. Tua's back, right? Like we know Tua's back for this one. It's primetime return of Tua. I think I'm going Dolphins here too. Tyreek Hill's been great. I think they're going to be fine, and I'm excited to get Tua back. Hope everything's good with him. But I think what we saw from the Pittsburgh Steelers last week is a mirage, and I don't think that's staying. Give me the Dolphins.
And it looks like Trubisky will probably be playing quarterback again, right? So
barring any more Deontay Johnson halftime scuffles.
Yeah. I'll take Miami. They get back on track.
All right. And then finally, Monday night, Bears-Patriots. I'm taking the Patriots.
Is this going to be Bailey Zappi versus Justin Fields?
Yeah.
I'll go.
It is.
I'll go Patriots.
The Patriots 4 wins? Not a big Bailey Zappi, man. It's going to be wild.
Zappy was fun. He was dialing up against the Browns on Sunday. He had some bombs. And as someone who watches a plethora of college football, Bailey Zappi being a good player is not the least bit surprising to me. That dude was insane with Western Kentucky last year. Great story. Great kid.
Yeah.
Also, it makes it really awkward, and I want to see what happens with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi the rest of the way.
Oh, man. Quarterback controversy in New England.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Clayton, it's been an absolute pleasure. This was dope.
Yeah, this was fun, man. I'm really glad you guys brought me on, and
Clayton's always the guy behind the camera, so I'm happy to finally get you in front of one.
Yeah, like that's the thing, I don't get the glory when I deal with all the guys and their breaking news stories, but it's fun. It's fun.
Well, we appreciate you making the time for us, man. You do great work, and we had a lot of fun tonight, man. Follow you on Twitter. What's your handle?
Holloway, HOLLOWAY NFLN, as an NFL network. So at Holloway NFLN.
There you go. And check out all the other great programs all across the NFL network. Like
Absolutely.
Bucky Brooks is a friend of the podcast. He's been on. Bucky Brooks.
Oh, Bucky's the best, man. Bucky's
the best. Oh, can you do me a favor though? Next time you see him, he gave me a lot of crap about the Tennessee Volunteers before this year.
Oh, don't worry. I talked to Maurice Jones-Drew. Always gives me crap about the Vols. He was real quiet the other day. So
I mean, just Bucky was out, and I was like, yeah, you're gonna see. I had 10-2 for the Vols before the year. Not many people like us. Who has it better than the Tennessee Vols?
I'm so bummed that I'm just getting to know you now. Like, Evan's known me for a while. If I'm not tweeting about the Niners, it's the Vols, and I've been on the Jalen Hyatt train since week 2 of this year, and it's like, it's fun.
It's a long time coming because I never know what the hell he's talking about. he's always saying names, but no, I will say this. I was super hyped to watch Tennessee beat Alabama because of you guys. That was awesome. To watch you. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I can't even imagine like how many backflips both of you guys were doing, beating Alabama. Like,
I equated this the other day to my friends. Even though 16 years is a lot longer than 8, this win Saturday was equivalent, not as much because 49ers are my first love in life, but it was equivalent to 2011 divisional game against the Saints. And we finally got back into the playoffs and won after not being in the playoffs since 2003, when San Francisco was out of the playoffs for so long. That's how big this Tennessee-Alabama win was for me.
There you go. Well, this was awesome. Clayton, Evan, thank you. And Evan, I'll talk to you next week. Clayton, we'll have to have you back on soon.
Whenever you want, man. Text me. You have my number.
There we go.
Thanks, buddy.